today's topic is on feeling stuck. Okay, so we want to look at what is it actually, that stuckness, why do we get stuck, and what we can do about that. Just curious, what are you stuck on right now? That sense of stuckness is actually quite human. It's not all that specific to complex PTSD. Also, we get a more pronounced or more heavy stuck, if that makes sense. But we can get stuck on experiences, thoughts, emotions. Perhaps it's some patterns or behaviors, stories. So what is it for you? Maybe you can share it in a chat there, if you like, and I'll check it after the video. But what does it look like for you? Feeling stuck often comes with like secondary emotions, doesn't it? Because sometimes there's some shame with being stuck, or a sense of guilt, or maybe it's more irritation or frustration or anger. Okay, maybe some jealousy or envy there. We often compare ourselves, why are these guys, healing faster or progressing and I am not? Or it's fear. Any emotion really. There's no right or wrong. All emotions are messengers. And what it also usually does, all that, is giving fuel to our inner critique, right? That chatter, that inner chatter, see, I told you so, you'll never get anywhere, just like what everyone always told you, that you're not good enough or you can't get it, you don't have what it takes, and all this kind of chatter. Does that sound familiar? It's so toxic, but that spiral, that loop, that feeds on itself. And let me know how you would describe that sense of stuckness in a metaphor, okay? Because metaphors can really help us create a little bit of space between that sense of stuckness and myself, okay? So for me, I'll give you a couple of examples of what I see as a metaphor for stuckness. But again, there's no right or wrong here. So for me, it's often like spinning wheels, either spinning wheels on ice or spinning wheels in the sand. I don't know, have you ever been stuck in a car at the beach? The wheel keeps spinning in the sand, and the more it spins, the deeper the hole gets, and the more stuck you are. It's exactly how I feel sometimes. But other times, stuckness feels very different. It has a very different feel to it, like perhaps more like a balloon. Like, the helium balloon, this is like fully blown up. There's this hollowness, this emptiness with it. Almost a little bit delicate, sometimes that delicate or fragile-ness to it. And usually when we have helium balloons, we have that string and we attach it to a rock so it stays on the table and it doesn't float away. So it's that stuckness. So here I am, that balloon, not being able to get away. They're kind of my metaphors, but what is it for you? Maybe type it in the comments, because I love metaphors, because A, they create space, and B, they're kind of playful. They wake up some creativity in us, and it uses a different part of our brain. So that's why it's so important to use metaphors, I feel. But let's be honest. There's also a certain predictability with feeling stuck, right? Because we have done this so many times. We've been there so many times. We know that stuckness inside out. It actually feels familiar being stuck, right? And when there's familiarity, there's also a certain level of comfort. I know that sounds crazy, because we wouldn't really want to associate feeling stuck with a level of comfort. But getting unstuck is actually less familiar. It's almost new. What would happen if you no longer felt stuck? How would you feel about that? And really check in with yourself, in your body, what would happen? How would you feel different? What would your life look like? If I had a magic wand and I could make all your stuckness disappear, I say, what would you do? How would your life be different? Or what would you be doing? See, I usually explore this very deeply with my one-on-one clients, because when we explore that and we find out what is actually underneath our stuckness, we get some more clarity. Okay, but often there can be things underneath it, like, so they're just examples, that might not be yours, okay? But sometimes it's a fear of getting better. Yeah, that might also sound crazy to you, but when we're getting better, that could also often mean that we're losing something. Perhaps you've been working with the same therapist for a few years and you really like that therapist, and there's a connection, and you getting better means that you're losing that therapist or the sessions, right? Sometimes there's some avoidance there, because avoidance to change. If you're like me, I'm very rigid. I'm not very flexible, and I like things to stay the same way, even perhaps if they're not actually giving me the feelings that I want. But again, there's that familiarity in that situation, so I'm a bit reluctant to change sometimes. And I have to bring some awareness to it, so I have to do all these exercises myself too. Okay, sometimes there's just fear of actually facing that grief and that pain that's underneath that stuckness. Okay, because there's often a loss there. But sometimes I notice for many it is actually not being clear or not knowing where they actually want to be instead. Here I am stuck, but hey, I actually don't know what I want my life to be about. I have no idea what the purpose of my life is. I have no idea who I should be or how I should show up, and that. So that can keep us stuck too. Okay, even so, you might deep down, you might know, but you might not have that clarity just yet. Okay, so we talked about how metaphors to describe the actual feeling of being stuck can help us create some distance, or that playfulness and that creativity. I also like another exercise that helps me get more distance from my inner world, okay? So anytime I want to explore something or go deeper within myself, I need to create a little bit of space for me to do that. So I get the observer view, a spectator view. And how I like doing this is by imagining I'm a film director and I'm watching this on the screen away, and because I'm the film director, I am kind of in charge or in control of what the scenes are meant to look like and what is meant to happen next, what those characters in my movie need to do, kind of thing, okay? Or being the author of a book, so you're in charge of what is that next chapter gonna look like, what is going to happen. Or you can just think of it as it happening to a friend or someone else in your life, and that can help us get that little bit of distance too. But what I also like to do with my one-on-one clients is help them connect with their higher self, their future self, and gain some wisdom there for the situation. So any of those can just kind of spark some ideas, new options, possibilities for you. But when we're talking about that, we also need to take something else into account, okay? There's yet another level, another peel. Some people like to see it as the onions, another one peel at a time. But when we really look underneath that, perhaps for you too, there is some self-doubt and that lack of worthiness. You know, is it actually okay for me to get better? Is it okay for me to achieve or be successful? Is it actually possible for me to do that? And am I worthy of having that better future? Am I worthy of having that happiness in my life? Am I worthy of having that sense of belonging and nurturing and loving and caring friends and relationships, you know? Am I worthy of actually having a career that I love and really enjoy and that lights me up? So that is often another sticking point for us, especially for people with complex PTSD or that childhood trauma, that self-doubt and that lack of self-worth is just so pronounced, so consuming for us. It requires so much work. For me too, right? It's something that is an ongoing process to catch myself all the time. So I highly encourage you, maybe after the video, to pause a little bit and journal on that. Write down some notes and what came up for you. What are your thoughts about that stuckness and the possibility, what your future might be able to bring, or what you could do in your future, the feelings that came up for you, or the sensations in our body. It's really important to always connect with our sensations in our body as well, because often just thinking about it, just talking about it here with me in the video can bring up some tensions. Maybe you've been sitting there tensed up, or holding your breath, or getting some tightness there as well. Okay, so we're going to peel back layer by layer on that stuckness. And you do that in your own time. There's no need to compare yourself to anyone else. It's your journey. Okay, I always like to tell myself I'm in the right place at the right time. This is what I can cope with right now. This is where my brain is at, and this is good. I'm accepting where I am. Because from the place of acceptance is where I can move forward. Does that make sense? So, write down in the comments what is happening there for you. I'm always curious, especially what other people's metaphors. I love metaphors. They're so playful. It brings me joy. But also your strategies. Maybe you can share with us too, so we can all learn. We can learn from each other. But I really love doing that kind of deeper work. So if you feel called to do some inner work with me, then send me an email or book in a discovery call. We can kind of have a chat about what working together looks like. I have currently five spots available, but I like helping people or gently guiding people, because we all actually know deep inside where we need to go, but our life has just been too traumatizing. There's kind of that disconnect of that knowing. So I just like helping or guiding people there to harness that deeper understanding again of what is going on for you, sort of thing. So you can feel more confident in yourself again, feel safe in your body, so you have access to your innate powers and joy. Okay, you've been around me, you know I like joy. Everything, there has to be some fun with it. But I'm a coach, not a therapist, okay? So coaches focus on the here and now and the future, how to create a better future. Therapists or psychologists here in Australia, they focus on integrating and processing and storing your trauma stories, okay? I don't do that. That's the difference between the two. So always know before you reach out to anyone, really, what your goal is, what you want to get out of the session. So, but if you're curious, let's arrange some time to chat and see. At least I can help you get some clarity on perhaps where you want to go, or some clarity what your next step could be, and then we can see if you're a good fit and if coaching is right for you. But I'm always looking forward to hearing from you guys, and I will check the comments now. I don't actually think the comments are working. The screen is all blanked out, so I'm not even sure whether I am live or whether this isn't working. But anyway, I'm sending you all lot of love and rainbows to brighten up the tough times just a little. See you guys, bye.